Hey guys, what's up? Hope you all doing good today. Thanks for tuning back into the video. And today we're going to pose the question, what is more important, water clarity, water visibility, or water level? And if you guys have watched many of my videos before, you know I talk about this all the time, those three factors. And the odds of not getting interrupted in this particular video are pretty slim because, hey, say hi.
Hi, Mom,
Because we have got, we're dog sitting some friends of ours' dogs. So we got two golden doodles, and I've got Elijah in the yard here. So probably gonna have a hard time getting this video with some interruptions, but that's just what we do here at Intuitive Angling. Part of the whole deal. So anyway, I want to pose the question, guys. What is more important? Water temperature, water visibility, water level? And the answer to this thing, and I want to explain a little bit when I say that, it's like they are all equally important. Because in my opinion, if you can have a grasp of and an understanding of how water level, water visibility, and water temperature, what they are in the lake that you're fishing, that gives you just leaps and bounds of information that you can use to figure out how to approach the lake and find and catch bass quicker. One of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you guys out there is you really need to become a student of those three variables in fishing, because I don't think there's anything more important out there than that as far as, you know, identifying the technique and going with that technique and honing your approach than having those three things together. This is a topic where I could talk for hours on because there's so many different variables to that. But basically what I wanted to do in today's video is I sort of want to give you guys a foundation to build upon on this particular thing. So I want to run you through the 4 seasons and sort of give you a real basic overview of how important these things are per season. Obviously there's a lot of different variables that surround this that we'll go into in future videos, but I'm going to give you guys sort of a foundation to begin with. Let's start out with wintertime. In the wintertime, you know, your water temperature and your water clarity, the combination of the two are going to be the most important factors, because the water clarity and water temperature is going to dictate the pace that you fish in that cold water. It's going to dictate the techniques you fish. It's going to dictate whether a crankbait is going to work over a jerkbait or if a swim bait is going to work over a spoon. A lot of different variables to that. In the wintertime, water level is not that big of a variable because very seldom do you have high water levels in the wintertime. Precipitation levels are normally low in the winter. Most of the time the lake levels are normal or low, so that's not that big of a factor. As you move into springtime of the year, that's when the combination of water temperature, water level, and water clarity, in my opinion, is the most important, because you have fluctuating water levels in the spring greatly to a large degree. You also have fluctuating water clarities with that rain that comes into it. And then you have warming temperatures that add a variable to that. So those combinations of unstable water levels, you know, water clarities that are also unstable and change a lot, and warming water, that tends to put fish shallow for the most part. And that's a big, you know, deciding factor in the technique that you want to fish. In the summertime of the year, the water level and the water level and the water temperature plays much less of a role to the water clarity, because in my opinions the water temperature in the summertime is irrelevant, because I think when that water temperature gets above 75 degrees and it doesn't matter how hot it gets, but until it drops back down to below 75 degrees, I don't think it has that much of an impact on the fish. And also I don't believe water level has that big of an impact on the fish in the summertime, because you have a percentage of those bass that are staying shallow regardless of the water level, and you have a percentage of those bass that stay deeper regardless of the water level. The thing that's important is the water clarity, because the water clarity again will dictate your technique. Sometimes it's a big crankbait, sometimes it's a football head jig, sometimes it's a drop set shot. So that's the most important factor. And in the fall time of the year, for the last thing, that is when the combination of water temperature and water clarity are the most important things. And again, the water level, not that big of a thing. The water temperature is more important in the fall time of the year, because as that water temperature falls, it will open up techniques that normally have not been working when the water was a little bit warmer, even if the water clarity is the same. And the water level, again, I don't find it to be that big of a factor. Again, in the fall time, you have a combination of some deep fish, some shallow fish that are committed to that water regardless of the water level. So anyway, I hope that didn't confuse everybody too much. That's a basic overview of sort of what I look for as far as those 3 most important variables in fishing. And when you have this foundation that I just laid out, there are literally dozens of variables that change that on little micro increments. And we'll go into that in future videos. I could break down, you know, a dozen different scenarios of the 3 in each particular season or more, which we'll do over time. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to give you guys, sort of a start on this conversation. And like I said, become a student of that. Study how those 3 variables affect your fishing, and it will lead you to finding and catching those bass quicker. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you like it. Subscribe if you haven't. We'll see y'all soon.